Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how my body has changed over the 4 years that I started strength training. So I started hitting the gym when I was in my final year at university. It was in late summer 2018. So in this video I'm going to share with you my body transformation so far, albeit a slightly modest transformation. So let's go back to the beginning. Before I actually hit the gym, during school I was highly active. I was actively participating in sports like football, running and swimming. With running, it was long distance running. It was definitely not 100 meters or 400 meters track and field or anything like that. It was mainly endurance type running. And I think it was this, coupled with the fact that I did loads of swimming, that I was able to grow pretty quickly in height. I was definitely quite tall for a boy growing up at my age, certainly in Thailand. But out of the three body types, I would definitely say I'm an ectomorph. Tall, skinny, and struggles to actually put weight on. So a couple of pictures when I was 17 years old, as I was finishing school, about to start university. This was actually when I went on a senior trip with a couple of lads in my year group. As you can see from the pictures, a lot of the other boys, some of them had started strength training already, so they had quite a good physique for their age. They were quite well built. However, I was pretty lanky at that point. Now came the time for university. Not much change. I was still doing loads of football, long distance running and swimming. I joined the Thai Society football team, which was great fun. Had a really good time there. And this picture is actually taken when I was in my first year at university. It was around Christmas when I went home. I don't have too many topless pictures. So come towards the end of my second year, a few months later, I would be 20 years old. I was participating in an experiment of a friend of mine who did sports science. Now, I had to be dipped in an ice bath. And as you can see from these pictures, my collarbone is highly visible. My physique didn't really change during my first and second year at uni because I didn't do any strength training. Why would it change? I think this next picture is taken in late 2017. Again, I hadn't started strength training at this point yet, but I participated in a half marathon and I got a pretty good time, if I may humbly say so myself. I managed to get a time of under 1 hour and 40 minutes for a half marathon. That's no mean feat. So I did that, loads of long distance running. I never did much strength training at all. But then it was late summer 2018 that I decided to change that. A friend of mine decided to sign up for a gym in Portsmouth, University of Portsmouth. That's where I went to. I think we paid like £150 for 9 months, which is a crazy bargain. The amount of discounts you can get as a student is just ridiculous. So we signed up for a gym. We started going around 3 times a week. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were doing just dumbbell workouts, full body, basically working our chest, dumbbell curls, chest presses, shoulder presses. We were definitely not doing any type of barbell compound moves because we just didn't really know how to execute the moves properly, and we certainly didn't do any back exercises because, like all guys starting off in the gym for the first time, you want to develop your chest muscles and your arm muscles because I guess those are the most obvious muscle groups, right? A couple of pictures of us doing training together, and I also did a 10k run with him. This was the Great South Run in October. I can't remember the time I got then. We did a long distance running and we also kept pretty fit and active by going to the gym 3 times a week. This next picture here is in Christmas 2018, so I've been to the gym for about 3 to 4 months. Again, not always consistent, but you can see here, chest starting to round a little bit. There's a very faint 6-pack coming up, but nothing spectacular at this stage. Our training wasn't always consistent, like I said, whenever there was a long holiday, so a summer, a Christmas, or an Easter holiday, we just wouldn't continue to do any strength training. We would just kind of call it off and then reconvene in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or a month, whenever it was. So unfortunately, I haven't got too many more topless pics when I was in my final year, so in 2019 and 2020, not too many. But 2019, it was that summer when I was transitioning from a student into an employee. So I was working in corporate in London, and that was when I decided to step up my training, as in train more frequently. So I was training 5 days a week. In order for me to complete my workout before I got to work, I had to wake up at 5 a.m. So I trained Monday to Friday, which I thought was decent because it allowed me to keep my weekends free. But in terms of the actual training itself, there wasn't really any structure or any plan. I still kept doing chest exercises. Probably should have followed a training plan, thinking about it back then. So around comes early 2020. This picture was taken just before the lockdown in February, I believe. And it was around this time when a couple of people, it was family, friends, people I work with, started to notice that I was adding more muscle to my frame. You know, I had slightly broader shoulders, my chest muscles were slightly more visible. If I had a tight fitting shirt, that was. And it was a great feeling because I felt that after months/years of dedication and hard work, consistent strength training in the gym, I was starting to see some sort of reward for it. But then March 2020 came around and the whole world went into lockdown. So obviously there was no strength training then. I was working from home a lot of the time. That summer rolled around and here's a picture of me then. So you can see here the collarbone is no longer visible, so I was quite pleased with the muscle that I managed to put on at this stage. But it was around summer 2020 that I decided to take the step up from working in corporate to working as a personal trainer, because that was where my passions lie. I wasn't enjoying the corporate role. So I decided to get my personal training certification. It was all online. And it was late 2020, I believe, when I decided to fly back to Thailand because the lockdown situation in the UK, it was getting a little bit out of control. Thailand's lockdowns were a little bit different to the UK. So I think the first full nationwide lockdown in Thailand wasn't until April 2020. And this was because Thailand kept COVID pretty well under the wraps for the first 12 months of the pandemic, until April came round and then gyms just went into lockdown again. So before that point, actually, I'd made some good progress in the gym. Again, I was training at a Fitness First. I signed up for a membership there. And I think compared to some of the people in my social circle at the time, they'd started to realize I put on muscle mass and I was no longer skinny or lanky. So the lockdown actually was a long time. It was from April 2021. I think it lasted all the way to October. It was around that summer last year where I actually completed my personal training certification. And whilst lockdown was happening, I started applying to certain gyms around Bangkok. And I came across this gym called Base Bangkok. If you've not heard of them, then you must be living under a rock. No, I'm joking, but in all seriousness, they have got a really good reputation. They have won numerous awards, including Asia's Gym of the Year, so I felt very fortunate that I was joining a highly respected business, certainly one of the best gyms in the country. So lockdown was lifted. It was late 2021, I joined Base. I was able to take my training to the next level, as well as my physique. This was the first time that I actually paid attention to my nutrition, so I was strictly tracking my food, making sure I got enough calories, I was consuming enough protein on a day-to-day basis. I was tracking it really strictly, so I was logging in all my food on MyFitnessPal and literally doing it all the time. It was a case of Tupperware boxes, bringing them to work when I was working around shifts. When I had time available, I was just making sure I was eating right, training well, training 5-6 times a week. So this is where my physique really blew up. And you can see from some of these pictures here, I was able to take it to the next level. My body fat went down and I was able to build up muscle mass at the same time, and it was absolutely amazing. Coupled with the fact that I was getting hands-on experience in a gym. So my personal training certification, it really does just scratch the surface. You really need to get experience of coaching people, and it was with that I was able to develop my knowledge and understanding on nutrition and fitness and certain movement patterns. So everything was going well at this point. Personal development with me building muscle, but the truth was I wasn't really happy. You see, to build muscle and to become absolutely shredded, which is my ultimate goal, you need to make a ton of sacrifice. You probably need to eat in a lot of the time, prepare your own meals, consume enough calories, consume enough protein. Now, I'm someone who doesn't really have much of an appetite. I can eat, 3,500 calories on a frequent basis, but I'm someone who just doesn't get hungry easily, and therefore, a lot of the time when I'm trying to get the calories in, I'm forcing myself to eat. So I just wasn't really happy in the process, even though I was in great shape. And this is what I want a lot of you guys to realize, is that seeing someone in a certain way or a certain physique, that's just one side of the story. That's from the outside. If you dig deeper inside, you have to make a great ton of sacrifice. And these pictures of me in my peak physique, they were around April, May time. And since then I have regressed a little bit. I still love strength training. I train 4 to 5 times a week, absolutely love it. However, I'm kind of taking a step back with nutrition. So I'm still eating the things that I crave, the things that I enjoy. Still eating well from time to time, but I'm not being as rigid with my nutrition as I used to be. Bottom line is, my physique has changed over time due to sacrifice, due to trial and error, due to trying loads of different things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've never done strength training and you're interested in putting on some muscle mass, feel free to reach out to me. Happily give you any advice, any tips, any suggestions that you may need. Like it says in the title, this is a transformation so far. So I'm far from finished. I'm definitely not satisfied, but it's good progress. And I hope you found this video inspirational or somewhat entertaining. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.